take out your maps and your stickies from yesterday where you wrote your questions.
I lost it.
Yesterday we looked at the map and we asked questions in order to deepen our critical reading of the maps. And you wrote down questions that came into your mind as you began interpreting the map. I'd like you to take those questions, read through them quickly, and then bring them up and stick them onto our questioning. Thanks. Our questioning chart.
So many craters. I wonder how they define freedom of
I'm going to read to you just 3 questions that I chose from our list. One question was, what kinds of government do the red and black countries have? How does that influence free trade? So we're asking the question again, what kinds of governments do the red and black countries have, and how does that influence free trade? Why is Australia yellow? What does this, or where does this data come from, and what was involved in creating this map? How did they choose these colors for these different things? All of those are wonderful questions. Today, we're going to revisit and go deeper into our understanding by using the thinking skill of inferring. Maps are a visual representation of data. Readers draw on evidence or information from the map and their own background knowledge to come to a conclusion or an inference. Inferring happens before, during, and after reading. Today, as I re-examine the map, I'm going to show you what I do as a reader to make an inference. I will also ask you to form your own inference. I know it is important to cite specific evidence from the text or map to make an inference, so you will see me refer to the map for specific evidence. Also, and you guys can think of this sentence stems. It says is going to be what the map says. I say is going to be my background knowledge. And so we'll take those two and bring them together to come to a conclusion. Go ahead and put your eyes on the text. I will begin to share my thinking out loud with you. So as I go back to the map and I start to read, going back to some of my noticings and my questionings, I'm going to build on that. And I notice that it says the US and Canada are different colors. Canada is white, United States is yellow. White is good situation, yellow is satisfactory situation. I say that I thought Canada and the US had similar freedoms of press. My background knowledge going into reading this would have led me to believe that these two countries should have been the same colors. And I infer there must be a difference in the two countries' governments for there to be a difference in freedom of press in those two countries. I'm going to do another inference for us. This one, we're going to look at China. It says that China is black, which means that they're in a very serious situation. I say I know from a recent news article that Chinese news stations are sometimes blacked out by the government. And so I can infer that the actions of government may play a role in a country's ranking. We're going to do one more. It says the U.S. is yellow, which means it is a satisfactory situation. I say, from my background knowledge, I recently heard that the U.S. government filed lawsuits that forced reporters to identify their sources. And so, I'm making the inference that those lawsuits threaten the freedom of press in certain countries like the United States. Let's do one together. Many of you have knowledge about the country of Mexico. So everybody look at our map and let's look down and find Mexico. It says that Mexico is in a difficult situation, which is red. I say, I'm going to ask you guys now to turn to your table partner. What do you know about Mexico that might be related to it being a difficult situation? Take 45 seconds.
Corrupt government.
I had a bunch of kids last year that were families.
Corrupt government. Drug cartels rampant. Lots of kidnappings. Unstable economy.
So it says that Mexico is in a difficult situation, and you know all that stuff you just blubbed
I
out.
say,
So
it makes sense that they'd be in a difficult situation.
And then why are we answering?
So upheaval within the country could, as well as the government, could be adding to the criteria for different colors.
I have a question for you. So you asked a question about Mexico. Yeah.
Costa Rica is white. That's interesting.
I'm really confused by that. So why
And so
are
is
we
Honduras.
Can you save that question?
There's a bunch of little islands not on this map.
Okay, so
Yes.
I'm going to ask
Where are the Seychelles?
three groups to share out some of their background knowledge.
I was just thinking that's what it was.
That you talked about with your partner that might be related to Mexico. What do you guys know about Mexico that might be related to them being in a difficult situation? What were some of the background knowledge that your group talked about? Can you share with us something that came up?
Well, we talked about how we both know there's a lot of corruption.
Okay, so
in Mexico.
your background knowledge leads you to corruption. We're going to have another group share out. How about somebody from this table here?
We're talking about some regions being somewhat lawless, and cartels, drug cartels can maybe influence politicians, influence what might be coming out in the press.
Your background knowledge was connected to lawlessness and drug cartels influencing Mexico. Absolutely. And then one more. Would you guys share out?
Very similar. We said that Mexico, from what we know, Mexico is run by drug cartels. So the drug cartels are intimidating the press.
Intimidation is something that you're aware of from your background knowledge. So we're going to now take those ideas. It says that Mexico is red, which means it's in a difficult situation. My background knowledge leads me to know a little bit about Mexico. It is corrupt. It has some corruption. There are some drug cartels. Intimidation may play a role. Let's craft an inference now. It says that it is Mexico is a difficult situation. I know there's corruption in government, drug cartels, and intimidation. And so, what inference can we now make? Take another 30 seconds to talk to your elbow partner about an inference that you can make from that information.
Not gonna lie, I missed that because I was writing. What did you have?
That was the greatest
So based on that, what's our inference? And our inference was upheaval within a country could also Mexico. That upheaval within the country.
Yeah, instability could reflect on the press. Yeah, on free press.
Okay.
Or influence.
Let me repeat our phrase again. It says that Mexico is red, meaning difficult situation. I say, I know that there is corruption, there are drug cartels, there's intimidation, and so, who can share with us an inference that you and your partner made from those two pieces? Volunteers.
Corrupt government and intimidation may prevent reporters from communicating freely.
Corrupt governments and intimidation may prevent reporters from communicating freely. We've taken what we see in the text and read from the text, our background knowledge, and we combine them together. The last step here for you to do is now any part of the map that you would like to, again with your elbow partner, I want you to write down on a sticky note, a piece of paper, notebook, wherever you'd like to write down your inference using these sentence starters. Take 110 seconds to make an inference using those sentence starters.
About
Anything on the map.
I was actually thinking about. I came up with the question: why is Pakistan and Afghanistan not part? So they noticed it.
What part of the country what part of the map are you looking at?
Really?
Well, one thing that blew my mind was part of the map, Colombia, Venezuela, but the problem is I was going to use it the same as we use Mexico. I know that Colombia, Venezuela is very similar government situations going on in Mexico. To be honest, I'm surprised that Brazil maybe wasn't red also, but I need to figure something out, something else. I know it says that Sudan is black.
It's a different government situation there than there is in these nations.
I say they just went through
different governments,
civil unrest,
but trying to make different, trying to accomplish
and so that
or have different goals, maybe.
is probably
China and North
why they have very
They probably don't have the infrastructure to have.
serious. Yeah.
With the civil unrest, they probably don't have the infrastructure to have a news system or newspaper system, any type of reporting that's going to be free.
Right.
Because everybody's trying to please the new people in charge.
Yeah. I love how this whole exercise became about types of government.
Yeah, totally.
Which we have to have background knowledge on to be able to make inferences.
But as an 8th grade teacher, they should be coming to you from 7th grade, understanding
Right, but
that's
this is
a
a
government.
7th grade class, right? Which, that's where you learn about governments, right? Or types of governments.
Okay, guys.
And he did refer earlier to the class activity would be focusing on North Korea.
Oh.
And I'm going to ask two groups to share out their inference that they made, starting with their it says, I say, and then end, as I was walking around, I saw some nice writings. Can you guys share with us one of your?
Okay, so it says Ireland is in a good situation. We said Ireland is always fighting for state and individual rights, so we infer that citizens fighting for their rights leads to freer press.
Okay, so your inference started with notice, or your reading of the text saying that Ireland is white, and you took your background information about, can you repeat that for us?
That we always hear about Ireland in the press fighting for like state individual rights.
Okay. The people fighting for their rights, and your inference was, and so?
So I infer citizens fighting for their rights leads to freer press.
Citizens fighting for their rights leads to a freer press. Great job, thank you guys. And then we'll have one more group share out. One of you guys here again?
So I wrote that the map shows that Scandinavia is all white.
Okay. Scandinavian countries are white.
So I say that Scandinavia is pretty neutral, that you don't hear about them in conflicts or getting involved in other countries. And so I infer that more neutral countries have a freer press.
Okay. Scandinavian countries I saw as white, and I read that part of the map, and then I took my background information and I said, you don't hear them in the news very often, and my inference, and I don't know if I'm capturing, was there more to that piece?
Just that those countries are probably less restricted on what the press is allowed to say.
Okay, and my inference is that those countries are less restricted about what they are allowed to say. Question?
Looking at the same countries through a different lens, I'm going to share what Lisa said because she's too shy to share.
Okay. Well, we'll have one more. Go ahead.
But I say that they're white, or it says that they're white, and I say that these countries aren't, a lot of those northern countries that are white aren't very populated. And so I can make an inference that less populated countries have good situations.
Perfect. A great example of how different students will take their different background knowledge and bring their different background knowledge into their inferences. Everybody did a wonderful job. What I'd like you guys to do with your inferences is hold on to them for now. Okay, so lastly, today, we worked on the skill of inferring. When readers infer, they take evidence from the text and combine it with their personal experience and skill sets to create conclusions or inferences. On a sticky note, I'd like you to answer the question, how does the skill of inferring help you understand difficult text? Focus on the skill of inferring. How did the skill of inferring help you focus and look critically and read deeply into this matter? Take 9 more seconds to finish your thoughts. people to share out their thinking. Would you be willing to share your thinking?
Inferring allows making multiple entry points to engage in the text and acquire knowledge as personal interest.
Perfect. Inferring gives me many entry points to engage with the text, and my knowledge adds to my interest. And one more, would you share?
So, well, it helped the inferencing process help me create a meaning, like my individual meaning for this particular text. Everyone at the table wanted something different out of it, and I think it helped me sort of, I guess you could say, individualize my learning.
So by inferring and giving you the freedom to make your own inferences, you have more meaning that came from your reading. Great. Leave you with a last thought, guys. By using these strategies, all three of them, previewing from day 1, questioning from day 2, and inferring from day 3, we can come to deeper understanding of a text. In this case, a thematic map. As you become a more proficient reader, you will use all three of these strategies simultaneously in authentic ways. Please continue to use those three strategies as we